The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as Dr. Sarah Chen entered, flanked by 3 massive Ursinian cubs. The assembled delegates, representatives from 47 species, stared in barely concealed disgust at the human woman and her charges. Ambassador Zixthor of the Valkyrian Consortium leaned forward, his crystalline face reflecting the chamber's harsh lights. "We were told you would bring the Ursinian delegation. Instead you bring pets." Sarah's jaw tightened, but she maintained her composure. The cubs pressed closer to her legs, their fur bristling at the ambassador's tone. The youngest, barely reaching her waist, whimpered softly. "These are the Ursinian representatives," Sarah said firmly. "Crown Prince Gora, Princess Mela, and Prince Thun. They speak for their people." A rippling laugh echoed through the chamber. The Valkyrian ambassador's translator rendered it as mocking amusement. The Ursinians sent children. And a human pet handler to guide them? This is beneath the dignity of the council. 3 years ago, the Ursinian homeworld had been ravaged by the scourge plague. Their population of 8 billion had been reduced to mere thousands. The survivors were all children. Their adults had been particularly susceptible to the virus. The galaxy had written them off. Their resource-rich worlds had already been divided among the major powers in backroom deals. Everyone except the humans. Sarah had been part of the relief mission that arrived at Ursin Prime. While other species saw primitive survivors, she saw children who had watched their parents die. She saw cubs who huddled in the ruins of their civilization, starving and terrified. And she had done what humans had been doing for 40,000 years. She had stayed. "These children," Sarah continued, her voice cutting through the murmurs, "survived a planetary catastrophe. They rebuilt their agricultural systems. They restored power to 3 continents. They've created a functioning government while most of you were calculating how to divide their territory." "Impressive for animals," Zixthor said dismissively. "But the Ursinian race is effectively extinct. Their seats on the council are forfeit. We're here merely as a formality." "No!" The word thundered through the chamber. Prince Gora stepped forward, and suddenly the 9-foot-tall Ursinian didn't look like a cub anymore. His lips pulled back, revealing teeth designed to crack bone. His shoulders, broad enough to dwarf Sarah, squared as he rose to his full height. "We are not animals." The translator struggled to capture the guttural harmonics of the Ursinian language, but the rage was universal. Princess Mela moved to her brother's side, her violet eyes blazing. "You called our mother a pet handler. She taught us to farm when we were eating corpses to survive. She stayed when your species fled. She held us when we cried for parents who would never return." Prince Thun, the youngest, stepped forward. His voice was high but steady. "Sarah Chen crossed the dead zones to find our scattered packs. She traded her own rations so we wouldn't starve. She taught us your laws, your politics, your games, so we could stand here today and tell you this ourselves." Gora's claws extended with a sharp click against the marble floor. "She is not our pet handler. She is our mother. And if you insult her again, Ambassador, I will demonstrate exactly how primitive we Ursinians can be." The chamber erupted. Delegates activated defensive shields. Security drones hummed to life. But Sarah raised one hand, and the 3 Ursinian cubs immediately fell silent, though their aggressive postures didn't soften. "Gentlemen, ladies, and honored representatives," Sarah said calmly, "you seem to be operating under several misconceptions. First, you assume the Ursinians need your permission to exist. They don't. Second, you assume they're defenseless. They're not." She pulled out a data tablet. 3 months ago, the Krellian raiders attempted to establish mining operations on Ursin Prime's moon. The Ursinians destroyed 7 Krellian warships using weapons they built from salvaged colony ships. Last month, they successfully negotiated a defense pact with the Terran Federation. And yesterday, they completed the repair of their planetary defense grid, a grid that, I should mention, is now targeting this station. The chamber's holographic display flickered to life, showing the unmistakable signature of weapons locks from the planet below. Zixthor's crystalline face darkened. "This is an act of war." "This is a demonstration," Sarah corrected. "The Ursinians are here to reclaim their council seats, not to ask for them. They're here to inform you that their borders are closed to all nations that participated in the illegal division of their territory, and they're here to establish formal diplomatic relations on their terms." Gora stepped forward again, but this time his posture was different. He placed one massive paw on Sarah's shoulder, a gesture of affection and respect. "My people have a saying, Ambassador. The pack that survives the long winter grows the strongest fangs. We have survived our winter. We have grown our fangs, and we learned from the best teacher in the galaxy. He looked down at Sarah, and for a moment the fierce warrior became a son, looking at his mother with unconditional love. Humans don't keep pets, Ambassador, Gora continued. They build families. They create bonds that transcend biology. They see potential where others see only weakness. That is why they dominate their homeworld. That is why they will dominate this galaxy. And that is why we stand with them. Princess Mela accessed the chamber's central console with fluid expertise. The Ursinian Confederacy formally requests restoration of our council seats. We're transmitting our credentials now, along with defense treaties with 16 other species, all former lesser races that humanity helped uplift while you debated profit margins. The data flooded the council's systems, treaties, trade agreements, defensive pacts. The humans hadn't just saved the Ursinians. They'd been quietly building an alliance of species that the major powers had dismissed as irrelevant. The balance of power in the galaxy had shifted, and no one had noticed until now. Ambassador Zixthor sat back, his crystalline features unreadable. Finally, he spoke. The Council will take this under advisement. You have 6 standard hours, Sarah said pleasantly. After that, the Ursinian Confederacy will proceed with or without Council recognition. Choose wisely. As they left the chamber, young Prince Thun looked up at Sarah. Did we do good, Mom? Sarah smiled and ruffled the fur between his ears. You did perfect, sweetheart. Your parents would be so proud. Behind them, the galaxy's power brokers scrambled to adapt to a new reality. The age of underestimating humanity, and those they chose to protect, was over. The cubs had shown their fangs, and the galaxy would never forget.